Howdy Hexers, Infamous Neo here. Welcome to Limit Break. This series talks about the limited archetypes of the Scars of War herofall format, and this video has a focus on what will be true for sealed play. The archetypes in sealed are generally a little bit looser than in draft due to the nature of just getting what you're given and not picking the cards you're playing with. However, they do still exist and are still powerful within the context of sealed. The archetype we're going to be talking about today is Diamond Ruby Ardent. This one is for the most part about solid aggression, using a wide board in the late game, single target buffs and some powerful but sometimes situational removal. First up, we're going to look at some reasons you might want to try to aim for this archetype. We're skipping the cards that are generally powerful, the kind of cards that you can play in any Ruby deck or any Diamond deck, and we're looking at the ones that become more powerful when you play them with this Ardent Diamond Ruby strategy. Heart of Embers and Intrepid Conjurer are both very powerful cards, but to be utilized to their fullest, they require Valor. The triggers on these cards need you to play Valors, so being able to generate them is important. These cards are the perfect start to a Ruby Diamond deck. Ardent Crusader, Moonrise Elder, Ardent Fellowship, War-Torn General, Martyred Saint, and Hero of Legend are all incredibly powerful cards. They all have one thing in common though, and that is to reach their true potential, they require some help from their Ardent pals. The Ardent Crusader won't be played unless you have 10 different named Ardent troops in your deck, and the rest become significantly more powerful the more Ardent troops you have. These are all cards that would really make me consider playing this archetype, powerful bomb rares that require some Ardent synergy to work, and we're going to take a look how to potentially support these with troops. War Party Guide and Ardent Officer have obvious synergy with this type of deck, one drawing your top card if it's an Ardent troop each time it attacks, and the other giving a board-wide buff to your Ardent troops when it swings. Lava Shaper deals 3 damage to target troop, and Staunch Etherealist creates a Phantom if you can meet the Ardent allegiance on these cards. Thornweaver, when it comes into play, gives you 2 temporary resources for each Ardent race among troops you control, which usually ends up meaning you can play this card and generate resources to match what you paid for it, and then play something else in the same turn. This is awesome tempo. Here are some other solid troops you can look out for that support this strategy because they are powerful cards in the Ardent faction. Although they aren't strictly troops, Mooncall Ceremony and Boisterous Ballad both can be considered troops for deck building purposes. Both of these cards are quite powerful, so if you have them, you'll have to have a good reason to not include them. A few honourable mentions for their utility include Aotachi Cavalry for evasion if you have Valor generation, Storm Rider if you want some evasion with some added revert, and Leyline Purifier is also good if you want to take out those potentially life-threatening constants. I'm a big fan of Ashwood Minstrel as a utility filler card. Playing a 4-drop on turn 3 can provide you with an amazing start to a game. An early Blitzer or Warband Ruffian can be difficult for the opponent to deal with, plus the resource that it creates can be gained at quick, so there's potential for using that resource to outplay your opponent with tricks or removal as well. Now, just because we're Ardent focused, it doesn't mean we can't run Underworld troops too. There are a few commons that I would generally consider running, even in a deck that's based around Ardent synergy. Rocket Rider is great, Bastion and Grimskull Tactician are also cards that might just be powerful enough to sneak through in with this Ardent band. Now we've looked at what troops synergize with this archetype, we're going to look at the non-troops. Removal is plentiful in these shards, but some of it is limited by the damage it can deal or what it can target. However, this is still one of the best shard combinations for common removal. All of the cards shown here are great to include. Ruby Diamond has some great combat tricks too. Outflank and Blitz have huge temporary buffs that can be played for 1 if you use their Mobilize effect. And Blindside gives a huge +3/+3 to a troop and readies it again, but be prepared for the fact that you need an exhausted troop to use it on. It won't work on ready troops. Now, there are also a couple of constants. Forgotten Forge and Hilltop Monastery are great for this archetype. These are both powerful when online, but their real power in this format lies in their synergy with Diligence troops. Being able to exhaust your Diligence cards constantly without needing to attack and risk your troops can provide you with free card advantage, massive health gain, and damage to your opponent. Even without the Diligence effects though, these are both powerful cards, giving board-wide Rage 1 or creating a Valor every turn. And to finish up, we're going to look at some potential champion choices. My first choice most of the time is going to be Ada the Apparitionist. Creating 2 troops for 5 charges is a pretty good deal, plus they have flight, so they become great targets for those Valor and other buffs. Marzel is probably going to be my champion of choice if I have a lot of Arena Regulars or Rock Sliders in my pool. Marzel doesn't just have a charge power, but also a passive. Every time you play an Ardent troop, he gains a charge. so there is a very good chance you can double up on these charge triggers by playing a Shard, followed by an Ardent troop. 2 Tomahawks might be a good choice if you have a lot of Valor triggers, but not much Valor generation. Just be aware that at 6 charges and the banner not triggering until the start of your next turn, this actually doesn't start taking effect until turn 7, which might be too late. And last but not least, Marshal Josephina might be the right call if you have a very aggressive deck that you want to push through with as early as possible. Decks with Strikeforce Sergeant and Ardent Officer might want to go this route. That's all for this week, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this archetype. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel or see the last video by using the links on the screen now. Also, if you feel like hanging out, I'll be streaming nearly every day on Twitch, so check out the link below the video. Good luck, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.